Y'all, let's talk about the downfall of women in leadership. Okay? If you see me looking at my phone, I got my notes just so I make sure I do not fall out of line on what I need to say in this video. Okay? But getting into the conversation, the topic of the downfall of women in leadership. Alright? And it all started with women just not understanding the value of themselves, and it's always about approval from other people. Okay? And you gotta get out of that. You gotta get out of that, okay? Because if you know, because many of y'all know, y'all feel that intuition, y'all feel that pull to wanting to step into higher powers, to wanting to speak up, to want to do things more than what you do now in past tense, but you feel like you gotta stop or you gotta limit yourself because a religion you follow, or because a man that told you something, or because somebody else that told you something. So you feel like you gotta step back and limit yourself from what you really want to do, and that has to go. Okay, because figure out what you want to do. Okay, can nobody lead nobody until they lead themselves. And if them people not leading themselves, I wouldn't take no type of advice from them. Okay, and regardless, even if they are, at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you can lead yourself and understand that you are also a leader. Okay, now I'm gonna pull up some posts, some comments and stuff about the argument of women being in leadership, because it's really sickening, even coming from women themselves not understanding that they can be leaders. And it's just like, what? So we gonna get into that, okay? But the root of, women being in leadership is coming to generational trauma. Okay, have you ever been told or felt, being undervalued, being told you're too chatty, or just plain out being told that women cannot lead? When you hear stuff like that, people who are gullible, a lot of women who are gullible, people can sense that, and they like to take advantage of that. So what happens is they beat the woman into feeling like they can't lead themselves. And this has been going on for years, making women feel like they cannot lead themselves, when in reality they can. And that brainwashing, that social programming, that just wordplay on women's brain has really did a number on women. So when it comes to their business, they're not showing up the way they want to. When it's time for them to show up for themselves, they're not showing up the way they want to, because they're trying to please the husband, because they're trying to please a God, because they're trying to please this person, this family member, this friend. You see what I'm saying? So it's always about approval when it comes to this generational trauma stuff. And this is why a lot of women today cannot step fully into their leadership role. If you want to fully step into that leadership role, you have to be aware in what has pulled you back from stepping fully into your leadership roles. Because when you do that, it allows you to be aware of understanding the steps that you need to take so you can stay grounded in how you are trying to become. Okay? And what I mean by that is, so going back to being told that you're too chatty. So you being heard that you're too chatty silence you. I've seen a lot of comments where people have been told that they were too chatty when they were young. They asked too many questions and they stopped. They no longer talked. They no longer did this and that. So as they grew up, of course they had many ideas that they wanted to do, but they didn't go through it. Okay? Even when they do their business, they shy. They don't want to reach out to people. They want to stay behind the scenes. They don't want to show up in their presence because they feel like they're doing too much or they don't want to do too much. Okay, you see how that can fall with you through your life? This is why generational trauma is very important to get rid of. So that person who's been telling you since you was a child that you're too chatty, that women cannot lead or girls cannot lead, you need to get that out of you. Okay? So you are able to evolve. Now, this whole... Oh, wait a minute. Let me pull up, before I move on to the next topic, okay? Let me pull up the one post that I made actually today, okay? And it's just like from a woman herself saying that women cannot lead. It's just diabolical, okay? So if you're not friends with me on Facebook, I'm gonna read you the whole post so you know what was said, all right? So what I said was, this was my post. If you want to consider yourself as a Christian, you must bring it back to its roots and stop lifting up the hierarchy, patriarchal, political, social programming, religion that was taken from the foundation of women leaders and the indigenous. Original foundation rooted Christianity was led by powerful women leaders who spoke not to be silent for the sake of obedience. Okay? So this is nothing about being feminine or feminist or anything like that, excuse me. This is saying that women have been shut down from using their voice and using their power. Okay? And it started down to the brainwash of Christianity and parents being brainwashed, and then they lead it on to their child and to their child, and now they're telling their child that, oh, you can't lead, or you can't do this because you're a girl, you can't do this because you are gonna be a woman, this and that, when that's not how we should keep looking at things. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. They had private homes. Private home service led by women for deeper, intimate, sacred healing. So, when they did churches, spiritual teaching, spiritual churching, mystical, things of that nature, it was in their home. Okay? They didn't have to go out every Sunday to a crystallized building. Okay? It was sacred. It was at someone's home that they knew this is where we go. The same way y'all love to go to your favorite cousins on the weekend, that's the same way that they had their sacred spaces. Okay? Deeply mystical, it was about inner knowledge, not about external approval from men. So again, the generational trauma of religion being told by the women and the men around the world that women can no longer lead. So you got Christianity and men telling you that you cannot lead, and then coming to the 1900s, women are fighting for women's rights, for women leadership. You see where we're going with this, right? Okay. It was diverse, fluid, female-led. Women got a hold of this knowledge for power and control, which is why the Bible was rewritten so many times, because it had too many women-led empowerment. The Council of Rome, the Emperor Constantine, was the first big step of changing and legalizing religion for what it's not, meaning taking women out of leadership. Okay? Taking women out of them not understanding that they have the authority. Okay? The pattern that needs to change back. I'm skipping a little bit, okay? The pattern that needs to change back. Women originally had authority, okay? Over centuries, church leaders rebranded women as silent, sinful, or secondary. Get Christianity back in line if that's your way of honoring the divine. Okay? That's what I said. You take it how you want it. But let me read this comments. Okay? Tell us you're a feminist without telling us you're a feminist. Nothing about this post had anything to do with feminists. It was about understanding that women are able to lead. And they tried to undervalue women leadership because men wanted to start to gain power. Okay? Keep that in mind. Nowhere in the Bible do you read about women leading. That's the whole point of my post. They took women leaders out of the Bible and they rewritten it to take the women leaders out of the Bible, to make it seem like they were silent, sinful, and secondary. Like, I don't think people really read what I'm saying, okay? This is why God said be silent. I don't recall when you need to be silent from the divine source, but okay. Women are naturally prone to sin. And you can thank your foremother Eve for that. Again, they rewritten the Bible to make women seem silent, sinful, and or secondary. I said it all in my post. Okay, we can't lead nothing. That right there is generational trauma. Again, the way that they let women today grow up from a child, they have been told they cannot lead. That is an issue. And that is generational trauma that is carrying generational to generational to generational years. It needs to stop. It needs to stop because I don't understand why you feel like women cannot lead. And I don't care what happened yesterday, years ago. Every woman is not the same. Just like every man is not the same. Every man cannot lead. Every woman cannot lead. But you have your ways around leading. So can we stop this non-duality thing when there is duality in the whole situation? Okay. I understand. Okay, I'm not going to read that part. Oh, no. Let me go ahead. I understand the world taught you to hate men and to think you're equal to or even superior to. So why is it that men could feel like they have the power over women and women feel like it's okay for them to not have power or for them to not understand their power? Like, why as a woman do you feel that it is okay to accept that you cannot lead? But many of you want to pop out babies. Many of you want to have families. Why? When you can't even believe that you cannot lead. Many of you think like this. We cannot lead. Nothing. All caps. But you want to have a family. But you want to have babies. And bring children into the generation. And you want to say that you cannot lead. Nothing. So you are saying, as a woman and as a mother, you cannot lead. So that means many of you women that think like this should not have children, should not have a family. Because when you think like this is why a lot of children grow up messed up. Generational trauma. Please go ahead and meditate on this. No. Please allow yourself to take in on the honest fact on what I said in my original post, that women have leadership. Women have authority. Like, what is the issue with that? Women themselves even have an issue with that. Why? Why? I don't know. But if you feel like you can now hone in on your own power, I am not your cup of tea. Okay? I don't know what Bible you're reading. See, that's the thing. Another thing. A lot of women leaders were visionaries. A lot of visionaries had downloads. Okay? So there wasn't always a book that needed to be read. It was literally knowing your inner knowing. It was literally understanding your intuition. So when people always throw out, I don't know what book you're reading, I don't know what guide you're worshiping, like all this, it's like, just read the facts that's in your face instead of being so quick to want to understand the source of it. Because you can honestly, I'm going to speak for myself. The many things that I say on my account, you can research on your own, because you're not definitely what we talking about now, because you're not going to say that women are not leaders and we cannot lead nothing. And if you think like that, you are tripping, because there are many women leaders from years ago to now. Okay? Ain't no women leading the army of God. When you understand you are God, you will understand that you can be a leader. You will understand how to step into your leadership. Okay? So this whole thing about women can't lead is bonkers. Diabolical. Okay? Because you have to understand the power of you. And another thing, I'm going to pause too, because my intentions on this post was about allowing women to understand the truth behind women leadership. And when a woman come under this post and say women cannot lead, in the way of certain things she said, it made me pause. It made me pause and read it, because it's just like, let me close my curtains, y'all. It's getting dark, and I got this fat ring light. I just paused, right? And because the old me would instantly spaz, girl, still speaking the truth, but just more in a just, crazy direct, like. But I read it, I paused, I thought on it, and calmly responded back to her. Okay? That's emotional maturity. Okay? Because I didn't let my fiery emotion just snap off. I calmly redirected her to quoting everything that she said in a way that she needs to understand the difference between feminist and feminine energy. Okay? Because I'm not out here talking about some ladies, let's take off our breasts and I'll take off our bras and walk the streets about no. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about women owning their power, understanding that they can lead themselves because they have the authority to. So when you understand the identity of the I am within you, you know that you can lead yourself. I don't care what nobody say. If they want to think like this, they want to be like this, let them be. But you know what? If you are ready to lead yourself and you know you are a leader yourself, stuff like this, you cannot allow to get in the way. Because that was the reason for Christianity. That was the reason for women's rights. And that is the reason today that women want to use aesthetics for performance of leadership. So let's move on. Okay? So, going back to my notes. If you ain't following me on Facebook, you better follow me on Facebook to read posts and stuff like that. Don't come over there with your craziness, okay? So, the aesthetics performance of leadership, all right? You got these ladies out here telling y'all all this silly surface level bullcrap, telling you that you should not be an innovator, telling you that you should steal from other people. Like, people are really growing up to start not thinking more for themselves. When we was in school and we cheated on homework and we cheated on paperwork, we're getting a fat ass F. You going to detention. You staying back. But now y'all get old and money hungry and fame hungry, and it's just like, oh yeah, let's just steal from each other and yeah, let's do this and do that. No. Because this is what I mean when I be talking about energy. This is what I mean when I be talking about identity. Because y'all get so wrapped up in the reality of fast life, that you turn around and you try to steal from other people's life. And you think that it's innocent, but it's not. Because your soul had its own contract. But because you're so stuck in external life, external reality, that you're not tapped into your spiritual life. So you're missing the path on what you actually need to be doing. Okay? Now, I'm going to pull up another post real quick on, I got to search it, what I had said to go with what I'm talking about here. Okay. It was a video I saw from a well-known women leader. Okay, I don't watch all her videos, but this video that I saw, it was just like, it was a no-go. It was a no-go because that's what I mean. It's like women are putting on this aesthetic and it's making people go like, ooh, it's so beautiful. And you know, like this whole podcast thing and this whole social media content creation thing is like being a huge buzz. So people are just trying to like easily hop on and see whatever the hell they can say to get views, likes, money, whatever. And it just, a lot of shit just be bullshit, okay? It be bullshit, alright? But let me get into the post on what I mean. So, there's a woman on Instagram, well known, that stated, when you first start out, your goal is not to innovate. When I heard that shit, I instantly side-eyed that shit, and here's why. For one, you came out the womb an innovator, a creator. The shit don't stop, no matter what path you're on. This is how you build the world around you. Despite the beauty aesthetics these women are trying to put out, the words of encouragement you are speaking of, it got to make sense. And that right there was a no-go. Like, you're really telling people to not innovate when they start out. You was already an innovator. Why stop? That's what I mean. Y'all get so wrapped up into this reality of fast that y'all want to steal from each other. Society is so stuck into getting through the race fast. They just want to steal and be lazy. No original creation. We are in the age of Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius. All this bird shit about to be out the window. You do not never, okay, stop innovating. I add on extra levels because we live. That is a part of you. You create your reality. You create for those around you as well. The creation comes from within. The thoughts come from within. Okay? And I said at the age of 14, 13, I was on bed, innovating, stuff like that, alright? But don't get sucked up into the aesthetics of beauty when the messenger is trying to vamp out your talents. Don't take in on everything you hear with a person that has a mic. Look past the beauty. Don't let that go over your head, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of women who are only on these cameras because they are stealing from each other's little prompts. There is no true thought leadership through the type of content they're putting out. So they throw on this aesthetic look, this aesthetic background, talk nice and sweet to you, look nice and luxurious. And don't get me wrong, because I work with luxury brands. But the type of women that I work with, we are walking out in our truths. So we're not going to be up here just showing you aesthetics just cause. It's going to be the true lifestyle of them. Okay? And this is why I say at the end, do not take it on everything you hear with the person that has a mic. Because you're literally sitting up here with a lot of fans, well, with a lot of followers, subscribers, whatever you want to call it. And you are telling all your people to not innovate when you first start out. That's silly. Surface level, low mindset advice. I'm gonna call it what it is. Y'all ain't gotta like what I say. Y'all call it out on how you feel, and that's just what it is. And I'm gonna tell you how I feel. So at the end of the day, you telling thousands of your followers to not innovate when they start out, when you originally have always been an innovator. Again, generational trauma from aesthetic performance leadership. Again, these are women breeding off other women and men. So, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Okay, like, we have to stop with the fake leadership. We also have to stop with telling women that they can't lead. Okay? And I'm talking about real leaders. Not the fake ass leaders who, just like I said, taking prompts from each other, stealing from each other, and just saying whatever on the mic. I'm talking about real down-hard leaders who actually think for themselves, critical, creative thinking. And then you, of course, got to sprinkle a little intuition plus the logic in it as well. Alright? So, when it comes to this whole generational trauma of trying to bring women down about saying that they're not leaders, again, diabolical. Erase it. I don't care who the hell told you that. Bullshit, lies. Now, this right here, the aesthetic performance of leadership, telling you should not innovate when you first start out, when you were born an innovator. The thing about innovation, though, let's get into it. The thing about innovation as a leader You have to make sure you're not just staying in innovating state. Yes, you innovate, but you also have to know when to execute. Okay, so make sure that you're executing when you are innovating. Do what you need to do. Go through the process. It ain't got to be perfect, but you want to make sure that you are still moving in the process of you innovating. Okay, so innovate, yes, but know when to execute. Okay, make sure of that. All right. Now, what else I was gonna say? And I'm gonna read one of the comments. She said, "Thank you. Amazing post and so true. I wish people would take heed and start with what they were meant for. Well, whether we're blah, blah, blah. And start with what they were meant to do, rather than participating in a race with no finish line." And this is what I mean. Like, society will put you in a way, in a distraction where fast. And don't get me wrong, some things need to speed up. Some things you need to, like, come on, because you're procrastinating, you're moving slow. You do need to speed up sometimes. But it's certain situations where slow and steady is good. You need to be slow and steady through the process. Okay, don't stop and take a long ass break and take a long ass pause. No. Take your pause, take your rest, but make sure you get steady and through the process. Okay? So, those are 2 quotes I'm going to read. The other one I had read earlier, and then this one. And then going back to women's rights. So, women's rights. In 1900s, women were literally fighting to gain back women in leadership. Plenty more other things, but the main thing I'm talking about now is women in leadership. Why are we fighting to have women leadership when that is where we originally were already? You see what I'm saying? So the system is never made for women to win or men to win. Only certain groups. So while some of y'all want to sit up here and fuss about women can't be leaders, those are the people who want to just be in power of you, so you don't power trip over them or gain the power over them. And a lot of women are very powerful, but they don't want that. So we had to fight for it. You see what I'm saying? So, in today's generation, we have way too much knowledge and way too much information and way too much power to be still sitting back. Coming up in my comments saying that women cannot lead and we cannot lead, nothing is crazy. Because we can. There's so many women leaders today. And we have women history for a reason. Rosa Parks was, not a leader? Was she not a leader? That's what I'm saying. We have so many women, past lives to now, being in leadership positions. So what makes you think that you cannot be a leader? Again, I don't care what nobody say. Women are leaders. And the thing is, when women and men also individually learn how to step into their own masculine and feminine energies, to be able to balance out and understand that there's a duality of both, there won't be much chaos. There will not be that much chaos in the world. If women and men could understand the duality of themselves, stepping into their own masculine and feminine energies. And stepping into your feminine is very, very spiritual. This is why a lot of women are more spiritual, because we are already females. We are already feminine. So they took out the feminine energy and made it all masculine and made it all male. When in reality, it's a spiritual duality within each individual. So, this is not a thing where it's feminist or Xing out the men, or no. Men need to understand, not everyone, because I know a lot of them do understand already, but a lot of men need to understand that women can be leaders, and women can understand that they are leaders themselves. Okay? So, where we at in this video? We are 36 minutes. Let me think if I want to say anything else. Because overall, if you honestly feel like there's stagnation within your leadership, you're going to have to dive deep into the generational trauma of why you are feeling that way. And where is this coming from? Who told you cannot lead? And if you are stepping into your leadership, but old past traumas come in the way, why? Write them down. Get your emotions out so you are able to show up in the way you want to actually show up. No external approval. Dive deep into you and how you want to show and what do you want to do. How do you want to become? What woman do you want to become? What type of leader do you want to become? Okay? I'm a rebel spiritual leader. I'm the one who is here to make people think and change the norm and disrupt. So a lot of my content, a lot of people are not going to like, but that's the leader in me, understanding and knowing that the things that I am going to put out, everybody is not going to like. I had a woman told me, please stop. Girl, why you posting this every day? Da, 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 da. When I post business stuff, a lot of y'all crickets. When I post fun, non-business stuff, a lot of y'all are crickets. But the moment, mindset work, a lot of y'all are crickets. But the moment I start calling out women in a bluff, yes, oh, stop, oh, you post this every day, oh, you're being so condescending, oh, can you stop posting this, I'm blocking you, you crazy, women can't lead, all this nonsense. You're going to have people who do not agree with you. Hey, I might not even agree with you half the time, but it don't matter. It don't matter. Because at the end of the day, if you believe in what you believe in, if you have an open mindset on talking with other people, getting out different perspectives as a leader, boom, cool, amazing. But if you have the power and the stance in certain things that you just want to go through, you have a belief in, you have a way in, can nobody fight you. Like for me, you cannot transfer me into trying to say that I need to repent and this and that, because I've been a Christian, I've been a Jehovah's Witness, and I've been in my spiritual journey. And a lot of things have happened. So me being able to step into my leadership and lead myself and my feelings and my emotions and my presence, that's me leading myself. And the leadership starts always with you. So this is why this is very diabolical that women themselves can say that they are not leaders themselves, when the majority of the time you have to lead yourself out of certain situations. Nobody is going to be there to save you. So how are you going to lead yourself? This is why a lot of women are stuck. This is why a lot of women should not have families, babies, or any of that. Because you truly, deeply don't feel like you can lead yourself. And a lot of women feel like that but won't say it. And this is why a lot of women crash out and don't know what to do with themselves or their family or their children. Because womanhood, motherhood, is not just about playfulness. You gotta know how and when to lead. I'm gonna end it right there. I'm gonna end it right there. Being a woman and being in motherhood, you have to know when and how to lead. If you do not, you should not have a family or children. And if you already do, you have a responsibility to step into, because it's already too late. You already built the family, you already have the children, and you already are here. Lead yourself so you can lead your children, so you can lead you. I'm out.